Hi everyone. I wasn't going to do a Periscope tonight because I was getting kind of tired, but sometimes the Lord impressed me to talk about the mark of the beast. We don't talk about it enough. Or maybe we talk about it a lot, but there are people that need to hear about it. And I did find a video from Apocalypto Productions that's talking about the mark of the beast is almost here. And I haven't watched it yet, but it looks very, very good. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the camera around now and we're going to watch it. It's a 27-minute video. So I will turn the camera around now and we'll watch the video.
The Vatican has led the Western world to believe that Sunday is the same holy day revered in the Bible. The Sabbath, Saturday, is the correct day, and there is not one verse in the Bible that backs Sunday keeping. Sunday is a creation of the offshoot of the Christianity that became the Roman Catholic Church. After all ideologies, nations and religions that challenged the Pope's power are neutralized, the Vatican will work through the United States to enforce a worldwide Sunday law. It's the beginning of a new world order religion. Hindus, Muslims, Buddhists, Jews, New Age, Baha'is, atheists, and Sunday-keeping Protestants will all keep Sunday, which will be enforced by the state by fine, imprisonment, and even death. This act acknowledges the Pope to be the supreme ruler of
No,
earth.
he's not. The Pope is the Antichrist. Sorry to
Before
tell you.
this happens, the world will be warned with a three angels' message. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation, and kindred, and tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God, and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven, and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead, or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up for ever and ever, and they have no rest day or night who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Revelation chapter 14, verses 6 to 7, proclaim that there is only one living God, and he alone deserves our
Please
worship.
don't swear,
Not only for
or I'll
the
block
creation
you.
of our planet and our wonderfully designed bodies, but for giving the human race the gift of eternal life, paying for the iniquity of our transgressions, being nailed to the cross. Revelation chapter 14, verse 8. The book of Revelation uses symbols to explain prophecy. The symbolic use of Babylon depicts the Vatican of Rome, which has disseminated her pagan doctrines with a Christian veneer. Apostle Peter even described Rome as the new Babylon. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 13. The church that is at Babylon, elected together with you, saluteth you, and so doth Marcus my son. Ancient Babylon was a polytheistic religion, including the worship of a sun god, which practiced on Sunday. The pure gospel was perverted, and the Roman Catholic Church was the result. Apostle Paul warned of this apostasy in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 7 to 9. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let, until he be taken out of the way. Apostle Paul explained that error was creeping into the church, that when the Western Roman Empire came to its end, the papacy would take its place, and the Pope would
first
arise.
piece of
Roman
Revelation 13.
Catholicism is simply a mixture
And you
of
have the Roman
Christianity
Catholic
and
Church as the second
paganism.
piece.
The same polytheistic religion of Babylon exists today within the walls of every Catholic church. The veneration of saints, which simply replaced the many Babylonian gods. Babylonian Semiramis, who became Mary, and the worship of a sun god, are all inventions of ancient Babylon. Even the statue of Peter is actually the pagan god Jupiter, that was removed from the Pantheon in Rome and placed in St. Peter's Basilica. The Babylonian god Nutu, or Shamash, became Sol Invictus in the Roman Empire, worshipped as the sun god on Sunday, Dies Solis, the day of sun. Revelation chapter 17, verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Mystery Babylon can be understood in this dictionary definition. Mysteries, the secret rites of Greek and Roman pagan religion, or of any ancient or tribal religion, to which only initiates are admitted. The practices, skills, or law peculiar to a particular trade or activity, and regarded as baffling to those without specialized knowledge. Revelation chapter 17, verses 5, explains that this mystery religion appears in the guise of Christianity, but really is Babylonian paganism understood by high-ranking cardinals and Jesuits. Mother of harlots means that the Roman Catholic Church has harlot daughters, and these unfaithful offspring have been seduced by Babylonian doctrine. Sunday-keeping Protestants came out of the Mother Roman Catholic Church during the Reformation and clung to Sunday worship. Interesting enough is that the Vatican minted coins depicting herself, just as the Bible
No, I'm afraid
predicts.
they will, but I'll talk about that later.
Revelation chapter 17, verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet colour, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. The cup that the woman is holding has a sun in it, depicting her fornication with the Babylonian religious sun worship or Sunday keeping instead of the Christian Sabbath. Purple and scarlet,
Please
also
don't
referring
spam.
to Revelation chapter 17, verse 4. It can be seen in the colours of priestly garments. Revelation chapter 14, verse 8 tells all people in this Babylonian system of deception to come out of her. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. Firstly, a beast in prophetic language is a kingdom explained in Daniel chapter 7, verse 23. Since we have established the papacy as this beast, what is her mark? Sunday is our mark or authority. The church is above the Bible, and this transference of Sabbath observance is proof of that fact. Catholic Record of London, Ontario, September the 1st, 1923. The Sunday is purely a creation of the Catholic Church. American Catholic Quarterly Review, January 1883. Sunday is the law of the Catholic Church alone. American Sentinel Catholic, June 1893. The fourth
It won't be a
commandment,
chip.
Exodus chapter
I won't
20,
discuss it though when we
verse
get done,
8.
but it's not a chip.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Even after the death and resurrection of Christ, the apostles kept the Sabbath, Saturday, and taught and founded all churches with the inclusion of the fourth commandment. The early churches, which included Gentiles in the region of Galatia, Corinth, Thessalonica, and Rome, all kept Saturday as the Sabbath. Roman Emperor Constantine claimed that he had seen a vision with a cross in the sky with the writing In hoc signo vinces, translating to In this sign you will conquer. Constantine made a nominal conversion to Christianity, and under the influence of his apostate flatterer, the bishop of Caesarea, named Eusebius, Constantine made a stately decree enforcing the change of the Sabbath day from Saturday to Sunday, amalgamating paganism and Christianity. Both pagans and Christians seemed to be united in a shrewd political move, but at the cost of the fourth commandment, remember to keep the Sabbath day holy. Under the enforcement of the state, many Christians compromised. This act was the beginning of mainstream Christianity keeping Sunday that has passed on through many generations. The Jesuit insignia, IHS, is said to be the Latinized version of Jesus in Greek. But Catholicism is a mystery religion, has exoteric and esoteric meanings, like the inverted cross, Jupiter as Peter, and IHS as a Jesuit insignia, which are all well known by the inner circle of initiates. The IHS insignia includes a cross and 3 nails representing a V, which translates to In hoc signo vinces, and this sign you will conquer. With a sunburst, Ignatius Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, had ambitious plans of conquering the world, using his illustrious order to bring absolute power back to Rome. The coat of arms for Jesuit Pope Francis has the Jesuit insignia on it as well, and it's prophesied that the Vatican will conquer in this sign of the cross and the sun, but only for a very short space of time, until God's wrath comes upon them. The blazing sun in the IHS represents pagan Sunday worship, which is demonstrated in the monstrance. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9, tells us of a beast which is the Vatican and image, simply meaning a copy or replica. If any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the image of the beast simply means a replica of Rome. The United States, with all its Roman architecture, will enforce Rome's spurious Sabbath of Sunday. Apostate American Protestantism will be be foremost in leading the charge of this breach of the US Constitution. The First Amendment guarantees freedoms concerning religion, expression, assembly, and the right to petition. It forbids Congress from both promoting one religion over others and also restricting an individual's religious practices. Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. If any man worship the beast in his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. Here the forehead symbolizes the seat of morals and choice by honouring Sunday as the Sabbath, and the hand signifies that by actions they will observe Sunday, not engaging in any work keeping the day holy. In Europe, Sunday is being marketed by the Jesuits using the European Sunday Alliance as a front, being a family day of rest. So individuals who receive the mark in the hand may be motivated by penalties that the state enforces or on
3 seconds to flawless root.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'll get rid of this ad in a minute here.
L'Oreal Root Cover-Up, the quick way to
premise that Sunday be a family day of rest. Revelation chapter 13, verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Revelation chapter 13, verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. With the rapid development of technology, the implementation of the mark of the beast will be effortless, thwarting any buying or selling by those who resist the mark. Many think the RFID chip is the mark of the beast, but that does not fit the mark of the beast prophecy, though it is possible that it could be used to restrict the buy or sell. But there are other technologies that are more practical than the RFID chip.
Karin Linder stocks up on supplies at the supermarket. But Karin, like most people here in Sweden, won't be paying with cash when she gets to the checkout.
I personally never use cash. As you see here, I'm shopping. I use my scanner. When I check out, I'll use my credit card. And my banking, I do on my iPhone. So that's it. I don't need any cash.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. The Pope's Latin title, Vicarius Filii Dei, has been strenuously denied in recent years by the Vatican, perhaps because it adds up to 666. However, the documentation goes all the way back to the donation by Constantine in the medieval times, the first pope being his successor. The Vatican has already admitted Vicarius Filii Dei to be the Pope's title in earlier Catholic publications, so they won't be weaseling their way out of this one anytime soon. The letters inscribed in the Pope's mitre are these: Vicarius Filii Dei, which is the Latin for Vicar of the Son of God, a Sunday visitor, April the 18th, 1915. Amazingly enough is that Vicarius Filii Dei adds up to 666 in Latin, Greek and Hebrew. Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until the time and times and the dividing of time. Daniel chapter 7, verse 25 speaks of the saints being persecuted for 1260 years by the Catholic Church, using the prophetic day year principle. Daniel chapter 7, verse 25 predicts that the Pope will change God's law, which happened with the change of the fourth commandment expanding Constantine's civil decree, the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday. One of the biggest misconceptions is that Sunday is the seventh day of the week, when in fact the seventh day is Saturday. One only needs to look on your mobile phone or calendar to see which comes first, or just look it up on the internet. Sunday is in fact the first day of the week. Revelation chapter 7:25 also predicts that the Pope will change times. That happened as well. The Gregorian calendar, also called the Western calendar and the Christian calendar, is internationally the most widely used civil calendar. It is named for Pope Gregory XIII, who introduced it in 1582, Revelation chapter 13, verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. This simply states that the Vatican gives power to the image of the beast, which is the United States of America in the form of apostate Sunday-keeping Protestantism to persecute anyone opposed to the New World Order. Venerable Day of the Sun. Revelation chapter 14, verse 10. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. Revelation chapter 14, verse 11. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up for ever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Revelation chapter 20, verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark on their foreheads, or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. In recent times, the drugs used for state executions have not always been readily available, and it is probable that the guillotine which Revelation chapter 20 verse 4 describes will make a comeback. Roman Catholic Clarence Thomas I believes that the Constitution left religion to the states, that the First Amendment's prohibition against Congresses enacting laws on the establishment of religion was intended to protect the right of states to do as they please. It is evident Clarence Thomas is Vatican coadjutor. The intent and motive of his views is that the states in America enact blue laws that are already on the book of some US states. Blue laws are laws designed to enforce religious standards, such as the institution of Sunday keeping. Daniel chapter 2 gives a prophetic outline of kingdoms that will reign on earth. Daniel 2:31-35. Thou, O king, sawest, and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut off without hands, which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, so that no place was found for them, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. The head of gold represents the kingdom of Babylon. The chest and arms of silver represent the kingdom of the Medes and Persians. His belly and thighs of brass represent the kingdom of ancient Greece. The legs of iron represent the Roman Empire, and the feet of iron and clay represent the mingling of churchcraft and statecraft, legislating the spurious Sunday as the Sabbath influenced by the papacy, which is simply a continuation of the Roman Empire represented by the iron. The stone that smote the feet of the image is the second coming of Jesus Christ, and the mountain is the kingdom which God will set up that lasts forever. The mountain represents a kingdom, authority, or rule. Psalm 30, verse 7, Isaiah 2, verse 2, Daniel 44 and 45, Revelation 17, verses 9 to 11. The metals in the statue of Nebuchadnezzar could also be said to represent facets of the last empire, the New World Order. The amalgamation of philosophies and ideologies of each kingdom. Babylonian sun worship, the Medes and Persians represent irreversible decrees as well as worship of the sun god. Greece represents democracy, human reasoning through philosophy, including evolution through Aristotle, as well as communism via Plato. Rome represents persecution, sun worship, and structure of the Roman Empire as a model of the New World Order. All these characteristics will be interwoven with the last empire. Revelation chapter 17 verses 12 to 13. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Revelation chapter 17 verse 12 states that 10 kings will arise that will give power to the Vatican for a short space of time before the coming of Jesus Christ. We can see that trading blocs like GAFTA, NAFTA, and the European Union are rising throughout the world, and it is possible that these 10 kings represent the leaders of those unions that will give power to the Pope. On the 17th of September 1973, the Club of Rome published a report entitled The Regionalised and Adaptive Model of the Global World System, which was authored by Eduard Pestel and Mihajlo Neserovic. The The report revealed the club's intention to divide the world into 10 economic political regions called kingdoms, which would unite the entire world under a common leadership. These regions are North America, Western Europe, Japan, Australia and South Africa, Eastern Europe, Latin America, North Africa and the Middle East, Main Africa, South and Southeast Asia, South and Southeast Asia, centrally planned Asia. As we speak, there are 10 economical world regions: NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Association; SAFTA, South Asian Free Trade Area; AFTA, ASEAN Free Trade Area; CEFTA, Central European Free Trade Agreement; CISFTA, 8 CIS member states; CAMESA, Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa; GAFTA, Greater Arab Free Trade Area; GCC, Cooperation Council for the Arab States of the Gulf; CICA, Central American Integration System; TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership. These blocs might be adjusted and fine-tuned somewhat, but the Bible states that 10 kings will arise and give power unto the beast. These trading blocs give a basic outline, but by no means the final representation of the 10 kings.
Getting back to the Federal Reserve and the Bank for International Settlements, these groups are in cahoots with the biggest crooks of all, the Jesuits that bought up Bank of America, and they have little secret deals to try to apportion the riches of the world. And in the meantime,
the Vatican has large investments with the Rothschilds in Britain, France and America, and with the Hambros Bank, the Credit Suisse in London and Zurich. In the United States, it has large investments with the Morgan Bank, the Chase Manhattan Bank, the First National Bank of New York, the Bankers Trust Company, and others. The Vatican has billions of shares in the most powerful international corporations such as Gulf Oil, Shell, General Motors, Bethlehem Steel, General Electric, International Business Machines, TWA, etc. At a conservative estimate, these amount to more than $500 million in the US alone. Avram Manhattan wrote the Vatican Billions 32 years ago, and the Vatican is still maintaining absolute secrecy about its wealth. Hiding behind such offshore companies as British Screwlux Limited, that manages the Vatican's London property portfolio, said to be worth around 570 million euros. British Screwlux Investments' 2 nominee shareholders are listed as John Varley, former chief executive at Barclays Bank, and Robin Herbert, one of the many Catholic bankers. Managed share portfolios most often include shares in arms manufacturers, and over in Manhattan pointed out the Vatican has shares in General Electric, the 3rd biggest arms producer next to Lockheed and Boeing. General Electric produced the Gatling gun, among other weapons or parts. But because the Vatican hides its assets in secret behind the names of other companies, it is hard to trace exactly what companies they've invested in and how many shares they actually have. Pope Benedict XVI stated that the Vatican did not incur any losses in the 2007 to 2008 financial crisis. And there's very good reason for this. Rome is, or will be, soon controlling the world economy, for it is prophesied. Rome, the Vatican, is the new Babylon. Thanks to Edward Snowden, the world is now aware of the ubiquitous surveillance perpetrated by Roman Catholics who have infiltrated the highest levels of US government, including the NSA, CIA, and FBI. The directors of these agencies are all Roman Catholics, and the US-Vatican merger is spying on the world, including industrial espionage. World business is simply a giant poker game that the US-Vatican can see everyone's cards before every hand. Information is power. And the NSA, CIA,
Absolutely.
and FBI
Right.
have all the information at their fingertips, passing the info to their chosen cronies. Not only industrial espionage, but the Vatican has knowledge of United States foreign policy as well, even before it happens, from intelligence agencies inside US elite outposts such as Council on Foreign Relations and the Bilderberg Group. of which one of the founders was a crypto-Jesuit, Joseph Retinol. The Vatican uses proxies like Goldman and Sachs. Jesuits love using Jews as fronts, such as the Rothschilds, and the long list of other Jewish bankers, including Federal Reserve chairmen such as Greenspan, Bernanke, and Janet Yellen, in the same ingenious way that the Protocols of Zion document was used to take the heat off the Jesuits and onto the Jews, so are the Jesuits hiding behind the Jewish bankers as ultimately all roads lead to Rome. Revelation chapter 18 describes Rome as the head of the world economy after the 10 kings give power onto the beast, the Pope, in prophecy. The symbolism used is very simple. Ships represent economic might, chariots would represent automobiles, trucks, trains, and the like. As it also mentions slaves, the business of human trafficking will increase until the second advent of Christ. Slavery experts believe that there is nowhere in the world where people are legally shackled, beaten, and sold as if they were property. But the ILO's report, 2012 Global Estimate of Forced Labour, estimates that already 20.9 million people are victims of forced labour. Revelation chapter 18, verses 10 to 19. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones, and of pearls and fine linen, purple and scarlet, and all thine wood, and all manner vessels of ivory, and all manner vessels of most precious wood, and of brass, and iron, and marble, and cinnamon, and odours, and ointments, and frankincense, and wine, and oil, and fine flour, and wheat, and beasts, and sheep, and horses, and chariots, and slaves, and sold to men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things, which were made rich by her, shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing, and saying, Alas, alas, that great city, that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, and every shipmaster, and all accompanying in ships, and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate.
Well, there you have it. The reason we talk about the mark of the beast is it's so close. We know that it's coming, and there isn't anything we can do to stop it. We just have to be prepared for it, and we have to know what to do to avoid the mark. First of all, those in here that may not know what the mark of the beast is, it is the enforcement of the National Sunday Law, which is the mark of the beast. And anybody that's going to church on Sunday will unknowingly take the mark because it is not a chip. I know there are a lot of people think that it's a chip, but it is not a chip. It is symbolic. It's either in your hand or in your forehead. It is actions, like that one person said. It is your actions, your thinking processes. So my thing with people is, if you're going to a Sunday keeping church, it's best to come out of it now, so that you're prepared and that you're going to church on Sabbath when that time comes, because that time is is coming upon us before we realize it. I never thought it would be in my lifetime, but it's coming, and we have to be, like I said, we have to be ready. No, Sunday is not the day of worship. Yeah, I know. You know, I did too. I was a Lutheran, and I was never told when I was a Lutheran that Sunday was not the Sabbath, because the preachers don't tell people. I think they're afraid to tell them because they want to get them coming back to church. And I've used the words watered down gospel is what they do. They use a watered down gospel. They're afraid to tell the truth. But the thing of it is, they don't realize that they're held accountable for not telling their congregation the truth. Sunday is never the Sabbath. It never was. Constantine changed it, which he had no right to do. And the whole world goes to church on Sabbath. I've had Mormons come to my door already, And I posed the question to them once. I says, tell me why you go to church on Sunday. And they couldn't give me an answer. And I says, is it because of the resurrection? And they said, yes. I says, well, you show me in the Bible where we're to go to church on Sunday because of the resurrection. You won't find it anywhere. And they could not prove it one bit. But I told them, I says, look up sabbathtruth.com, and there's several different websites on the Sabbath, and they would seek it out for themselves. That's right. The gospel is the end of the law for all. Well, the thing of it is, those that might think the law has been done away with, it is not done away with. If that's what you're thinking, it has not been done away with. Jesus did not come to destroy the law. He came to fulfill. And the commandments are with us to this day. In fact, if you know, the Jews still keep the Sabbath. The Sabbath has been given to us since the creation. And Adam and Eve kept the Sabbath. They were 1 day old, and they kept the Sabbath. And God rested from all his work which he had done. Not because he was tired, but he wanted a special day just for him. So that's why he made the Sabbath day. And it is the only commandment in the Bible where it says remember, because he knew people would forget. And the 10 Commandments are the only things in the Bible that God wrote with his own finger. He did not trust anybody else to write them. So keep that in your mind too, because he wrote them. And when God says something, he means it. And he's never instituted Sunday. You cannot keep holy what he never made holy. And so those that think that Sunday is the Sabbath, I'm here to tell you it is not the Sabbath. The seventh day is the Sabbath. It has always been the seventh day, and we're going to be keeping the Sabbath in heaven. So if we want to keep the Sabbath in heaven, we need to do it now, because it's something that we're going to have to do. It's something you need to get used to. Like I said, when I was a Lutheran, I didn't know anything about the Sabbath, but when I became a Seventh-day Adventist and the truth was brought to my mind, I had to follow it. And I told my husband at the time, we're now divorced, but I told him at the time, I says, we've got to follow it, because we're not going on the right day. And let's put it this way, when I went to those meetings that my mother-in-law and father-in-law took us to in Fort Myers, Florida, I had really had no intention of changing my faith. I told him, I says, well, I'm not sure, because I was a diehard Lutheran, I wasn't going to change. Well, within 3 weeks, we both decided that that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to be baptized into the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So don't ever say never, because you're bound to change your mind, and I'm so glad I did. And I have never looked back. I mean, I've been an Adventist over 40 years, and I look forward to the Sabbath every week. It isn't really long enough. Like I said, 24 hours a day, it's so short, and I wish it would be longer, but like I said, we're going to be keeping the Sabbath in heaven. So if we want to keep it in heaven, we should be able to keep it now. It's going to be something that's going to be commonplace to us, you know. And like I said, the mark of the beast is the Sunday law. It's going to be enforced before too long, and it's not something we can stop. We can't really stop it. God is well. I'm sorry if you feel that God is not as real as Mickey Mouse. You're wrong. You need to get your Bible out and read it, because God is real. God said it. I believe it, and He settles it for me. Let me say this to you. You say God isn't real, but look around you. Look at the nature. Look at the trees. Look at the flowers. Where do you think they came from? They came from God. And they aren't man-made. They're from God. So, and the sun is from God, the clouds, the moon, everything is from God. So when you say God is not real, He is very real. What about the rapture? That's a question I was hoping somebody would ask me. The rapture itself is not in the Bible. It is the second coming of Christ. But we will be here for the tribulation. So the second coming of Christ, or the rapture as you want to call it, will not happen until after the tribulation, because it is not secret. And I know a lot of people like to say it is. The preachers say it's a secret rapture. But if He comes with a shout and the sound and the trumpet, that is not secret. Everybody's going to hear Him. And the Bible says we all going to see Him. It says every eye shall see Him. So what does that mean? We're all going to be to see Him. And I'm looking forward to it. I want to be able to see Him come. Now the ones that don't believe in Jesus and have mocked Him and things like that, they're going to want the rocks and the mountains to fall on them. That isn't going to be very pleasant for them at all. What if someone isn't religious? Well, I don't know what to say on that, but all I'm going to say is God will hold anybody accountable that knows the truth. And if they live up to all the truth they know, then that's okay. But if they are told the truth and they choose not to do it, then that becomes dire consequences. They're held accountable for what they don't know as well as they do know. I mean, God isn't like little babies. A baby that dies, God's not going to hold them accountable for anything because they didn't know anything, or a young child. But if you are told something about the Sabbath, you find out about the Sabbath or the mark of the beast or things like that, and you just turn your back on it and say, oh, well, I don't believe it, you don't want to read your Bible, that's when it's on you. Then God will, you will have to suffer the consequences. After you die, you find out? No. Well, if you die, once you die, you go to your grave. Your soul doesn't go to heaven or hell, as people like to say, because your soul is your breath of life. That's what returns to God. And your body goes into your grave, and you're in your grave until the great resurrection. One of the resurrections, there's going to be two resurrections. There's going to be the resurrection of the righteous, and there's going to be a resurrection of the wicked. We do not want to be in the resurrection of the wicked, because we know what's going to happen to them. They're going to be destroyed by hellfire. And right now we are going through an investigative judgment where we're all being judged for what we have done, whether good or evil. So when God breathed into man the breath of life, and man became a living soul. That's why I say that. Your breath of life is how you became a living soul. When you have no more breath, you cease to exist. You go to your grave and you remain there until the resurrection. What is the beast? The beast is the Roman Catholic Church. The Pope is the Antichrist. The papacy is the false prophet. There's coming a day when there's going to be a Sunday law enforced, where everybody is going to be required to go to church on Sunday. And if you don't go to church on Sunday, you will be persecuted, you will be killed, you will be jailed, or whatever. God knows who's going to do what. Do you believe in the rapture? I believe in the second coming, but if you're talking about a secret rapture, no, because that is not biblical. I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm sorry that you feel it's stupid, but it's not really stupid, because, no, I don't go to church on Sunday. I go to church on Saturday. And like I said, I used to go to church on Sunday, but once I became a Seventh-day Adventist, I realized that was the wrong day to go to church on, so I don't go on Sunday anymore. I go on Sabbath, the day that God instituted, because like I said, you can't keep holy what God never made holy. Yes, it will come in our generation. It's going to be very, very, very close. I know they've been preaching Jesus' second coming for years, but it is very, very close now. No, Sunday is not anything like Saturday. Sunday is a separate day. It's the first day of the week. God never instituted Sunday. And the only reason that Christians keep Sunday is because of the resurrection, but there is no biblical basis for it. Yes, you're right. Adventist is the only religion that makes sense, because we are closest to the Bible. We follow the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and the other Christians don't. It's sad. And even the ones that go to church on Sunday, I've gone into the store on Sunday or whatever, like Walmart and things like that, and they'll be in their Sunday finest, and they say Sunday is the Sabbath, but yet they don't keep that day either, because they go out and shop and things like that. So they're really not really truthful to Sunday either. So, and maybe it doesn't matter what religion we are, but it does matter to God what day we keep. So, and people like to tell, well, that's true. You don't have to go to church to be a good Christian, but you should love God and you follow the Bible. And yeah, I know everyone does their own thing, and that doesn't necessarily make it right either. But Sunday was never instituted by God. Like I said, you can't keep holy what God never made. Did God tell you what day?